Hey guys, this is Lisa from NYC Gal Out. We are going to do a movie review. Dracula 2025, a love story. Now, this movie actually premiered in France last summer of 2025. It has not made its US debut yet. It will in a few days. Okay, full spoiler warning. So this takes place during the Crusades between a Romanian prince named Prince Vlad. So Prince Vlad is married to a woman named Elisabetta, and he is like beyond happy because that's what true love is. Now, Prince Vlad is called off to war to fight the Turks. So while Prince Vlad and his men are successful, the Turks, they were able to chase after Princess Elisabetta. The ground is completely covered with snow, so it's very hard to see where these animal traps are. While she's galloping back to the castle, her horse steps on one of it, so the horse gets taken down, and Princess Elisabetta, she's running back off towards the castle, but she also accidentally steps on one of the traps. Meanwhile, Prince Vlad, he finds out that his princess is in danger, so he goes galloping to rescue her. But unfortunately, the sword, it not only killed the Turk, but it also killed Princess Elisabetta. Now he goes to the bishop and he tells the bishop to bring his wife back. And the bishop's like, God doesn't do reincarnation. And he's like, but God does miracles, doesn't he? And Prince Vlad is really angry at God because he's like, I've killed so many for God in the name of God. He owes me this, whatever. So Vlad basically kills the bishop in front of the altar. So that's how the movie starts. Now we're in Paris. They're like in an insane asylum somewhere. This woman, Maria, this Italian woman, nobody could figure out what the hell's going on. So they called in this priest, which is the guy from Inglourious Bastard. He was also in The Matrix. But anyway, so he's been tracking this for years, him and others before him, to find the original vampire, which is Dracula. Jonathan, this lawyer, he's traveling over there because he wants to buy this property. And of course, he meets Prince Vlad. Eventually, Prince Vlad has him hanging upside down because of his little gargoyles. And Jonathan asks Prince Vlad before he dies to basically tell him how he came to be a vampire. So Vlad tells him about Elisabetta. He was like so overcome with whatever that he wanted to kill himself. So he jumped out of his castle window, but realized that he couldn't die, that God had basically cursed him by not allowing him to die. Anyway, he lays on top of her coffin for like years, covered in snow. And one day he just gets up and he decides, okay, well, I'm going to go look for Elisabetta. So he goes looking for Elisabetta all over the place. He can't find her. Then he decides to come up with this perfume that make women drawn to him. So he decides, I'm going to go back home to my castle and I'm going to let other people do my work for me. So he starts turning some of them into vampires. He's basically stuck in his castle until Jonathan arrives. Jonathan tells him that, hey, dude, I totally get it because, like, I'm in love too. And, her name's Mina. Vlad opens up the locket and he's just like, oh shit, this is my beloved Elisabetta. He's so happy that he tells Jonathan, dude, I'm not going to kill you. He needs to kind of like rejuvenate himself because he's old as fuck at this point. He is like crusty old bread. And he goes to a convent. He's pretending to be like a homeless old beggar. He puts on this like, his secret perfume, and the nuns, they all are like overwhelmed by the scent and they're all drawn to him. Now he needs to take all of their blood to rejuvenate himself, and it's just like a wild, crazy scene. He's in Paris. There's some celebration going on. Dracula releases Maria. Maria goes to Mina, and they're having a great time at the carnival bazaar fair, and Dracula is reunited with Elisabetta, only she doesn't realize she's Elisabetta, although she feels like she was somebody else before, and then eventually she remembers that she is Elisabetta. So Elisabetta and Dracula, they end up going back to Romania in a freaking coffin, and Jonathan, he was able to escape the castle. So Jonathan's back in Paris. Jonathan, the priest, and, their guys, they all head to the castle to basically kill Dracula so that, the curse of the vampire could end. The priest and Dracula, they have a confrontation. Dracula's like, God sent you to kill me. And the priest is like, no, God sent me to save you. He's all like, save me. But then the priest says to him, if you don't do this, you're basically damning Elisabetta's soul. So he allows the priest to basically kill him. And once the priest kills him, Of course, everything turns back to normal, and he eventually turns to ashes, and you see his spirit floating away up into the clouds. The little gargoyles were actually children. They turned into like little ball-headed children. There are certain stories that cinema seems unable to leave alone, and Dracula is definitely one of them. Every generation gets its own version, sometimes terrifying, sometimes romantic, sometimes experimental. Dracula bills itself as a love story, but what it actually delivers is a familiar remix of ideas we've already seen done better. Most notably in Bram Stoker's Dracula, directed by Francis Ford Coppola in 1992. This version, the 25 version, it relocates the story from Victorian London to Paris. On paper, that sounds promising. In execution, however, the film struggles with originality, tone, and commitment, and ultimately feels like a movie that wanted to be many things at once. The central issue with Dracula 25 is not that it borrows ideas, it's that it borrows them too closely. The reincarnated lovers storyline involving Elisabetta and Nina was not part of Bram Stoker's original novel. It was an invention of Coppola's 1992 adaptation, and at that time, it felt bold and emotionally resonant. That version framed Dracula less as a monster and more as a tragic figure undone by love. This 2025 film, however, it lifts that same emotional backbone but fails to meaningfully reinterpret it. One of the most frustrating aspects of the film is its inability to choose a lane. At various points, Dracula 25 wants to be a gothic horror film, a tragic romance, an adventure story, a dark comedy. The problem isn't that these genres can't coexist, they absolutely can, but that the film never commits to how they should coexist. Emotional scenes are frequently undercut by oddly placed humor. Moments of horror are softened by visual whimsy or tonal winks. Just when the film seems ready to take itself seriously, it pulls back. The comedic elements in particular feel out of place. It's a concept that could have been explored thoughtfully, but here it feels underdeveloped and oddly cartoonish. In an era where most viewers will encounter this film via streaming, it's good enough to watch out of curiosity. If you love the 1992 adaptation, this one won't replace it, but if you're not familiar at all with Dracula, the book, the movie from 1992, you might enjoy it just for the fact that it does feel very fast-paced and the plot line is very easy to follow.